Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Free Daily Coaching on this May 20th. Can you believe that it's more than halfway through the month of May already? As most of you know by now, we have lost a dear, dear friend, Bob Miller. And so I thought we could talk a little bit about him today. I want to, Bert has been teaching us about gratitude and patience and action lately. Well, Bob was the epitome of that. Bob was the epitome of attraction marketing. For 504 days, he put out these beautiful, beautiful videos every morning, just full of gratitude and love and light. And he attracted to him a lot of people. He was the epitome of what Bert teaches us here on Free Daily Coaching. He was a great friend. He was non-judgmental. He loved everybody. And he actually had a very profound effect on my life in the last 2 years. I have, for a long, long time, felt dead inside, where I had almost no emotions at all towards things. And Bob has brought me back to having gut feelings, having gratitude every morning. I wake up every morning now and give gratitude to things. And I didn't used to do that. He brought me back to having a feeling. And it was very profound in the changes he's made in my life. And I know that he has touched many thousands of people. If you look at his wall even this morning, it is just full of love. Just full of love. Without crying today. So we talk also in marketing about legacies. What are we going to leave? Who are we going to affect? And after we're gone, who's going to give a rat's ass? Well, if you go look on Bob's wall, a whole bunch of people care. A whole bunch of people. A whole bunch of people are pouring their hearts out about their feelings for this man. And he has left a legacy that we can only hope that we can leave behind. I know that when I spoke with Bert yesterday, he was devastated. You guys saw him yesterday morning briefly. He couldn't even talk. But he's had a great effect on Bert too. In fact, he and Bert had a conversation not 3 days ago, and Bert was going to come on the gratitude show with Bob. Bob was with him at one of Bert's first Live the Dreams. So he has been with our educational program that most of us are with. He has been with him for a long time, and he and Bert shared a room. And it was Bert's first time going to be on stage. Bob helped him get ready to go on stage. And as you know and saw yesterday, Bert was devastated. I don't know what else to say. I love the man. I was so looking forward to meeting him. I was really looking forward to meeting him, if not in November, or if not in September. I don't know if he was planning on going to the green event. Do you, Lynn?
Yeah, it was.
So we would have all met in real life in September at the big green event, or I was going to try to go in November to San Diego to the peace rally that is going to be held in San Diego, and I know that Bob was really looking forward to that. So Bob has left a big hole that needs to be filled. His family really wants his legacy to be carried on, and I believe that it will be with the love of the people out there that love him so much. I know that Lynn and Jackson are going to keep his gratitude show going. Somebody needs to pick up the mantle and start doing gratitude videos. I've been thinking about it. I may give it a try. I shouldn't say give it a try, right? There is no try, either do or die. But we need to keep his legacy going. Lynn, you were one of the last people to see him. You got to give him a big hug. Tell us what you know.
Well, let's see. You mean what do I know about the final days? Is that the question?
Well, have you heard anything else besides what we know already?
No, I haven't. Well, maybe I have. The one thing that I do know now that I may not have known the last time we talked was that the funeral home did pick up his body. So arrangement is made. I take based on that cause of death is never really going to be determined. So apparently there's not going to be an autopsy. His wishes were to be cremated, so there will be a cremation. I'm assuming, but don't know for a fact yet, that there will be a memorial service of some sort this week. Since the body's already at the funeral home, I'm going to guess that it's going to happen sooner than later. I've been in touch with his daughter. I've been in touch with a couple of sisters. And in fact, one of the sisters just messaged me right now. I still have messages coming in. I spent all day yesterday and answering and fundamentally unstoppable flow of messages, questions, and et cetera. And I'm continuing to do that. Does Andy know? I don't know if Andy knows. Claire was going to go out to Fiesta Island yesterday and let Andy know. Did she do that? I don't know. Someone messaged me this morning. Did anyone go talk to Andy? I'm not sure. I'm still trying to keep everything going. But that's really all I know. It appears to me that I now own 2 dogs. Toby and Charlie are coming to live with me. That would be last conversations I had. I will go to San Diego. I mean, I saw no reason for me to go to San Diego yesterday. There was absolutely nothing I could do except get in the way of what the family has to take care of. So I didn't feel like I had any role in helping the sisters and the daughter. The brother, his brother was there to deal with what they had to deal with. I will go up when we know when the memorial service is going to be, and assuming that my last conversation with his daughter is still accurate, I'll be picking up the dogs at that time and bringing them back with me.
What about the cats?
Still an open question. It would appear that one of his roommates is going to keep one or both of the cats. People may not know that Bob actually, while Bob lived alone, he didn't live alone. He had a big house and he had a couple of rooms rented out. So one of the roommates, a woman named Nancy, I believe, is going to keep one and possibly both of the cats. So at this point, I don't know. One of the cats Bob had actually suggested to me several times that I bring one cat to Mexico with me. I never knew how serious he was, but I told him frequently that Mexico would not be appropriate for that cat. I don't think the cat would last a couple of days down here. The cat is old, really, really obese, and can barely move, and it would be just a target for any living thing to get to it. And so, and I do have feral cats that come on my deck. So the dogs I have no concern about. They can deal with feral cats. A sick, elderly, obese, immobile cat wouldn't be able to take care of herself. So, those are minor but important considerations. I know beyond any shadow of a doubt that Bob would want me to, he would want to be sure that his dogs are cared for, and it would appear that the only route to them being cared for is for them to come with me. I mean, not that his family nobody has room for them. As you go around the family, and they just don't have, there's no place for them to go. So that's where we are. As the world, as people know, I hope, Christy and Jackson have taken on the Practice Gratitude Success show at 8:30. They're going to do the show. There will be a show this morning. There is a link published on Facebook, and I have, if you go to my Coffee with Len video this morning, and you can find it on my timeline. You know what, did I put it on my timeline? Well, you can find it on my fan page, on all my fan pages. I may not have put it on my timeline. I was just doing the distribution when we started this show right now. In fact, I'm gonna actually go over here, and I actually cannot see you right now. I'm copying my Coffee with Len video to my timeline as we speak, so that people can, because it's only a little over an hour to the show. I want to be sure that people can find the link, because it's obviously a new link, because we don't have access to Bobby's webinars on Aerocont. So this will be running through Jackson's webinars on Aerocont. So share on my timeline. Here we go. All right. So on my timeline, on any of my fan pages, I also copied it over to Jackson's timeline this morning, and I copied it to Bobby's timeline. So you go to any of those places, look for my Coffee with Len video, and there's a link to the Practice Gratitude Success show. So that'll go on this morning. Bobby had started to write a book. He's got 20 years of notebooks. Now, yes, I did say 20 years. I have spoken with his daughter. She's boxing up his notebooks. And if, unless the family wants them, I asked her to be certain. Obviously, if they belong to the family, but if nobody in the family wants them or knows what to do with them, I asked her to please be sure that they don't get lost, that I will take them.
Well, yeah, you guys somebody needs to try to write the book for him.
I don't know what we're going to do. I really don't. I mean, I don't have a plan. The simple fact is, what I'm trying to do right now is make sure that the information doesn't get lost. And they're cleaning up Bob's house, and obviously things have to happen. So I just want to make sure the information doesn't get lost. We have access to it. When somebody takes it, if somebody in the family wants it, great. Rebecca, the niece who was on Lunch with Len yesterday, has said she's going to start putting up daily videos. She never put a video up on Facebook before. I walked her through the process somewhat yesterday, talked to her, and told her to just contact me when she's ready to put up a video if she needs any help, and I'll walk her through it, teach her how to do it. So she says she feels obligated to do that. So hopefully.
Well, she said she felt Bob touch her and tell her that she was going to do it.
Yeah. So hopefully she'll do that. So we'll pick up that piece. So gradually, gradually people are picking up the pieces and trying to understand how we can best go forward and serve and carry on the legacy. And yes, I want to go back. I want to go back on a personal note, if I may, and that is that I don't know when I first met Bob. I mean, I can't really tell you for sure. I can't give you a date. I remember
He was just here.
yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Here.
It was before Live the Dream 2 years ago. I can tell you that, and I know that. And the reason I know that is that Bob and I both met Doug Firebaugh at Live the Dream 2 years ago, and I already knew Bob, but I hadn't known him for very long. We had basically just met. So it was that summer that I just saw that there was this guy in San Diego named Bob Miller, and I had no clue who Bob Miller was, and I shot him a message on Facebook and said, "Hey, I see you live in San Diego. I'm close. I'm actually coming to San Diego next week. I'd like to meet you." Bam, we met, and we went to a soup plantation and had soup for lunch and salad.
Was Hollerin with you?
On that particular trip, no, or maybe not that day, but we did hook up with Malia. I don't know if we hooked up with her that day or the next day or what, but we've hooked up.
I remember that.
We've hooked up with Malia multiple times, and also we hooked up with Ray Taro one time. Ray's in La Jolla, is not far away, and there was another lady. Oh my God, I'm pulling a blank on her name. There's another lady that lives in the San Diego area that we hooked up with a couple of times. So we've had 2 or 3 meetings up there. We were sort of playing with the idea of forming a little focus group. It never really came about. I don't know why. It just didn't. But anyway, I met Bob that summer, and then we spent a fair amount of time together at Live the Dream. And in that may have been the Live the Dream where Bob met Bert, and I think it was. I wasn't roomed with Bob. I was roomed, interestingly enough, I was sharing a room with Bill Moore, and also with Vitaly. It's an interesting side note that Bill and I shared a room with Vitaly for the entire show. We had no clue what kind of a firecracker we had in our room with us. All we know is that he came in at 4 a.m. and left at 6. He was full of fire. But I spent a fair amount of time with Bob, and I got to know him, reasonably well during that show. And then the rest is history. We just started connecting more and more often. And I started staying at his, when I went to San Diego, his house became my home away from home. I stayed at his house. And of course, as people know, when I had my hip surgery last fall, September, I stayed at his house. Well, initially I only stayed a couple days, and then I came back to my home here in Mexico, and then the hip dislocated. And when I got taken back to San Diego, and after 3 dislocations of the second surgery, I stayed at his house, I think for about, I don't know, it might have been 6 weeks. I stayed there quite a long time after this. Because quite honestly, after 3 dislocations of the hip, I was afraid. I was afraid to come back to my house in Mexico. I would not wish what I went through on anybody, even on my worst enemy. So I stayed there a long, long time, and Bob and his brother accommodated me. They raised the couch. For people that have never had a hip replaced or been around somebody that have it would not know this, but sitting down on a low object is a recipe for disaster. You have to raise the toilet seat. You have to raise the furniture. Bob's brother manufactured some supports for the couch, and they raised the couch like 8 or 10 inches, and it's still sitting up on those supports. They never took it up, never took it back down, and of course, Bob just helped me. He just helped me. So what can I say? He taught me. He taught me so much. My voice, I'm beginning to crack now. Let me take a breath. he taught me so much about the way he looked at life. He was a big Wayne Dyer fan before I met him. And so he got me introduced to Wayne Dyer. And now I am a big Wayne Dyer fan. I'm a huge Wayne Dyer fan. And as you know, my recent Saturday morning, I did 3 different talks on my Saturday morning webinar series on the power of attention. It was all based on Wayne Dyer's book and PBS show, The Power of Attention. I mean, I'm a huge Wayne Dyer fan. Absolutely love the guy, and I'm absolutely 100% convinced that when Bob went to the other side, the very first thing he did was, besides go look up his brother and his father, the very first thing he did was go look up Wayne Dyer, and they're probably sitting up there writing their own story. So he taught me a lot about how he looked at life and gratitude and love and acceptance and overcoming obstacles. As you know, Bob had 2 strokes, and the doctors told him he would never walk again. And basically, he told the doctors, "Watch me." And as I have known him the last period of time, I mean, he ran. He didn't walk. He ran. We'd go out to Fiesta Island to see Andy, and Bob would tell me, "Look, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to go for a run," and he'd run around. He'd run, and I couldn't run with him because I was having the hip. I mean, this was part of the hip replacement. I couldn't run with him, and so I didn't. He just ran, and sometimes the dogs ran with him, and sometimes they stayed with me. A lot of times, it was sort of interesting. A lot of times, the dogs just hung with me. When I went to Bob's house, when I opened the side door of my van, I have a half-ton Chevy van, full and it's a high top. It's got a bed in the back, sort of thing. The dogs fundamentally lived in my van when I was at Bob's house. They just come out and get in the van. I mean, literally, Charlie would get on the front seat and Toby would get on the bed. And if I wanted to go to bed, I slept in the van when I was there. After I had the hip surgery, well, in the beginning, I didn't sleep in the van because I couldn't get in and out of it. But then I slept in the van a lot of times, and I had to kick Toby off the bed to make room for me. So, the dogs, he would tell the dogs I was coming, and they would be excited all day long. They knew what that meant, which is why I feel so comfortable taking the dogs, because I'm sure the dogs are very sad. I'm sure they don't understand what's going on. Charlie, as I understand, laid with Bob's body yesterday all day until the funeral home took the body away. He just laid with it, and so. Whew. All right, have I answered your question? I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to ramble on quite so long.
No.
Line me up and put a quarter in. Who else out there? You told me Whitman's out there. Good morning, Whitman. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Judy. Good morning, Christy. Who else is there?
I think Clive's here.
Clive. Good morning, Clive.
He can't see the chat, you guys.
Yeah, I can't see the chat. I have no clue I don't know who's there, and I don't know what you're saying. So.
Well, Christy, as usual, being her loving, wonderful self. She said that she loves hearing stories about Bob. So.
Yeah.
We know that to be a fact.
Yeah, my coffee in today's Coffee with Len. I mean, all I could really do. I mean, all I could really do is start the first day of the rest of our life with some sadness and gratitude. With my usual, I always end my Coffee with Len videos with, "I choose to be happy. It's a choice. You get to make it every day. Make it wisely." This morning, I said it's going to be hard to be happy today. It's a sad day, but we can be happy in the fact that we had the time we had with this very special person. We can be happy that he taught us so much about love and gratitude and acceptance. And we can be happy that he's in a good place and that he's talking to Wayne Dyer, and whatever Wayne Dyer and Bob are doing up there in heaven, I'm quite certain through the angels and through the channelers, we'll know and we'll hear and we'll get messages. And I'm going to tell you, as wacky, some of you may think this is wacky, and it's okay. It's like law of gratitude. It's like law of attraction. You know, if you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. If you had told me a few years ago about angels and channelers and media and spirits and all this other stuff, I would have asked you for a hit of that great stuff you're smoking. It's really good stuff. Can I have a hit too? Now I'm not so sure. I've come more and more to really believe in the spirit world and to believe that we really are all spirits. We all return to the spirit world. And while for reasons that we don't understand, we can't directly communicate with the spirit world, we can communicate with it. And there are people that have the ability, who have developed their psychic powers and their higher self to be able to connect more readily with that world. And I believe some of these people have that ability. And I think that Wayne Dyer had it when he was here. I'm not sure that Bob didn't. I believe some of the angels that have been on Bob's shows have that ability. I believe that through them, we can continue to chat with Bob from time to time.
Did you read Terry Miller went over to Twebs and registered the WWBD?
No, I didn't. Good for her.
Yes.
Good for her.
So now we have a
Hashtag WWBD. What would Bob do? Yes, and that's the title.
What would Bobby do?
Right, and that is the title of my Coffee with Len video this morning. WWBD.
So it's now a registered hashtag.
Oh, great. Good for her. Good for her. I didn't think about doing that. Wonderful. I'm so happy for her for that. Yeah. So.
And Debbie Deerdorf said that what you talked about was perfect. It's hard to stop talking about Bob because he made such a difference in our lives, and he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And the answer to your earlier question was yes, absolutely. We were planning on coming to. In fact, Bob and I talked about it. We talked about it several times. But on what day is today? Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. When I was with Bob on Wednesday, on Tuesday, when I was with Bob on Tuesday, one of the conversations we had was the plan was I was going to get my RV out of storage. I do have an RV. It's in storage in San Diego. I haven't used it for a while, but it's still in good shape. I was going to get the RV out of storage, and we were actually going to RV to Phoenix, to Arizona, wherever the meeting's going to be, Phoenix or wherever it is, I don't know. But we were going to RV, and we're actually looking forward to that. It was going to be fun. We're going to take the RV out there and
road trip.
Yeah, on the road again. Just can't wait to get on that road again. I love that song, and I love that lifestyle. I'm intrinsically a nomad. I like to roam. I like to go places. I like to do things. So yeah, I'm gonna be sad that we're not able to take that road trip together. But that was the plan. That's what we were gonna do. We're coming.
I said we would have all been together for the first time.
Yeah. Maybe you would have jumped in the RV and gone with us. I mean, we would have asked you if you wanted to ride, because we were going to take the RV. So that was the plan.
Well, our half hour is up. All I can say in closing is I hope that I can leave a legacy that's even just a tiny bit of what Bob's legacy is. And that's what I named this webinar today, was Bob's legacy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what we can do. Can we have maybe 2 more minutes?
Yes.
Don't move. I'll be right back. Okay, just stay there. Sing for the audience. Okay, entertain.
You guys don't want to hear me sing. I promise. You do not want to hear me sing. Although I love singing. Sing out loud. Let your voice be heard.
I started a new book. It's called The Next Trillion.
Okay.
I'm not sure Bob ever read this book. I don't know if he has it, so I'm not gonna claim that it came from him. I make that clear, but I don't remember exactly where I got the name from. But on one of our webinars, somebody talked about this book. I've only read a tiny fraction of the book, and I'm going to tell you that it is one of the most powerful books that I have ever seen. And the next trillion is how we're going to leave a legacy, because we're going to help people escape from the sickness business. Our country, our world, and our country. And I'm going to tell you, Jackson's been preaching this, and I didn't really fully comprehend the magnitude of the problem until I picked up this book. 70% of our population is sick because of the food industry and because of the pharmaceutical industry. Mm-hmm. The food industry is producing food. They're producing food that makes people sick, and the pharmaceutical industry is producing medicine to treat the symptoms of their illness while they get sicker and sicker and sicker. The legacy that we can leave, all of us working together, is to help save the people we love, the people we care about. And not everybody will listen, not everyone will listen, but those that will, that's our legacy. And
that's a good one.
And I don't mean to, and yes, that means we're going to push a certain company and a certain line of products because they help people feel better. They help people not just feel better. Marijuana helps you feel better. It may not make you less sick. The products we're pushing help people be less sick. And Bob was a big believer in what we were in the mission we were on, and that's a piece of the legacy that we can leave. And folks, the reason I'm holding up this book to you, The Next Trillion, is if you don't understand the magnitude of the problem, get this book and look at it, and you will understand the magnitude of the problem. It is beyond anything that I would have comprehended a couple months ago. So that's our legacy, Chris. All of us working together, our legacy, and Jackson leading the charge, and Doug, and our legacy is to leave behind us a wake, a tidal wave of healthier, happier people that we care about. And working together, we can do that. And I'm going to be on that bandwagon now. I'm redirecting all of my effort toward that. Lunch with Len is going to become more focused on how we can help people. Everything is going to be moving that direction in my life. So,
amen. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for coming today. I love you all very much. And I want to tell each and every one of you every day that I love you.
Yeah, and don't forget that. Everybody, run out and give your loved ones a hug and a kiss and tell them you love them, because you don't know how. When I walked away from Bob Wednesday morning, and I hugged him and said, "I'll see you in a week. I'll be back. My Asante shipment is coming to his house." I used his house as my mailing address for things like that, so it was easier for me to pick him up. It never in my wildest imagination would I have thought that he wasn't going to be there tomorrow.
That's right.
One short day later, he wouldn't be there. Go back to my Coffee with Len video on Wednesday. He's in the video. He's standing there. He's laughing. Then on Thursday.
Did you, Debbie does have that address of, to send cards for Bob also.
Right.
She said she got her card ready to go in the mailbox.
Right, yeah.
I've got one that I'll be getting ready today.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I love you all, and we're going to shut this down. Remember, free daily coaching Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific. And if you wonder why I'm not at the ranch, I actually was supposed to be at the ranch this weekend. The person that I wanted to keep Buttons, the vet center that I wanted to keep Buttons at, they were not available. And when I thought about taking her anywhere else, when she cares about this one person at that vet's office to be boarded, she's blind, you know, and if she isn't around somebody that she's going to care about. So I've changed it to June 9th. Bert was nice enough to let me do that. So Buttons is going to be in safe hands while I'm gone, and I won't have to worry about her in some strange place.
Buttons is blind?
Buttons is blind.
Oh.
She has diabetes. Which is another thing, you know, we could get into. The pets are getting more and more.
Yeah.
So anyway, we won't go into that now, but I love you guys all, and we're going to shut this down.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming.
And as you would say, bye for now.
Bye for now.